Greetings, traveler. We've traveled through the origins of stories. We have held the first fireside myths, brushed dust on ancient tablets, and walked through the dreams of civilizations long turned to sand. But today, we step into something much stranger. Because there exist stories humanity was never meant to tell. Stories that feel wrong. Stories that break your mind. They violate ancient rules, written not in books but in your very mind. Welcome to the forbidden story structures. Let's begin with the strangest absence of all. A story with no one in it. Humans need protagonists. They're not a stylistic choice, they are a neurological anchor. When a character appears in your brain, instantly forms empathy pathways. You become them. But what happens when there is no them? You get stories that feel cold, alien, inhuman. A few cultures try this, of course. Some Buddhist parables focus on pure cause and effect, not people. Certain Aztec cycle myths describe events without actors. Modern experimental fiction sometimes removes a protagonist entirely. And every time, something feels off. Because without a protagonist, the story becomes a void. A landscape with no traveler. A battle with no warrior. A legend with no legend. Humans aren't built for this. Our storytelling instincts collapse without a center. It is a forbidden structure because it turns the story into something lifeless. Next, Wanderer, is the tale that refuses to end. Not an ambiguous ending, not a cliffhanger. I mean a story designed to loop forever, with no resolution. Ancient storytellers sometimes used this as a trick. Some Indian fables return to the start after the lesson. West African trickster tales sometimes spin endlessly to outsmart listeners. Borges and Calvino have written stories that literally eat their own tail. Why do these stories feel unsettling? Because your brain craves a resolution. Storytelling evolved as a danger map, and the danger maps must end or the threat never feels resolved. An unresolved story whispers the same unease as footsteps behind you that never stop. It denies your brain the closure it was promised. This is why infinite recursion feels almost cursed. The story with no conflict. Every few years, someone attempts it, a story with no conflict, pure vibes, pure peace, and every time the story feels empty, weightless, forgettable. Why? Because conflict is not optional, it's the engine of human attention. When you sense conflict, the amygdala wakes up. It says, pay attention. This matters. No conflict? The brain wanders off to check its imaginary fridge, looking for snacks that aren't even there. Certain stories come close. Zenquans, mediative parables, slice-of-life narratives that minimize tension. But even these have subtle conflicts. Internal doubt, existential searching, a missing purpose. To remove conflict entirely is to remove meaning. A story with no conflict is like a melody with no movement, a song that never breathes. This structure is forbidden because it contradicts the very function of narrative, transformation. A story with no conflict cannot transform. Now, Wanderer, we step into the abyss. The fourth forbidden structure is the story that fractures time. Non-linear stories are fine. Flashbacks, amazing. My favorite part sometimes. But some tales do not bend time. They break it. Examples appear in Mythic Wild. Aboriginal Dreamtime stories where past and present coexist. Mayan cosmology where creation repeats eternally. Vongu's Slaughterhouse 5 where time becomes unhinged. Bulgar's infinite libraries of timelines. African oral traditions where ancestors speak as if they still live now. Why do these feel so unsettling? Because your brain organizes life chronologically, of course. It creates story from memory. Break the timeline and understanding of reality itself tears. A timeless story feels like drifting in space. Up is down, cause is effect, nothing is stable, nothing is safe. You're in a constant state of panic. What is the purpose? This structure is forbidden not because it's impossible, no, not at all, but because it approaches something inhuman. Something your mind were not designed to process. Now, what is my verdict? So, what exactly do all these forbidden structures have in common? They break the invisible rules of humanity's oldest instinct to survive by making sense of the world. Stories are not just entertainment. As we covered before, they are survival tools. Take away the things that help us survive: protagonists, conflict, timeline, resolution, and the story becomes a ghost, a shape without a soul. These forbidden structures remind us of something powerful. Stories work because humans work. And when a story breaks, so does the human trying to understand it. So, Wanderer, tell me, are these stories truly forbidden? Or are they simply waiting for someone to use them the way they need to be? A storyteller bold enough or mad enough to wield them. If you wish to explore more narrative anomalies, mythic secrets of forbidden lore, then join me. Like, subscribe, return to the archive, and together we will rewrite the impossible. Until then, stay weird, stay alive, and tell me a good story. Bye.